welcome to the Nasboys podcast. Now, did you know that at 55 miles, this Saturday's Loop 121 is the shortest race in distance in the 41-year history of the NASCAR Xfinity Series? This was because with all the weather-related issues that had been happening throughout the city of Chicago, and the race got postponed to Sunday, but then ultimately a big rainstorm ended up canceling the remainder of the event for Cole Custer to win. So anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, a.k.a. Mike Fob Fan 101, with my good friend and co-host, Christian, a.k.a. Savage NASCAR.
Well, dude, Nasboys crew, I hope y'all had a great 4th of July and had some fun. Mike, what did you do for the 4th of July?
I worked and then I fell asleep while listening to some fireworks. What about you, Christian?
Not too bad. I was hanging out with my grandparents, hung out with all my friends I hadn't seen in a while, and just cruised and jammed the music. That's basically what it was for me.
Well, we all hope that you enjoyed your 4th of July, but I think it's time to get into some business. The Chicago Street Course. If you guys remember in the last episode, me and Christian were sort of complaining that it was a dumb idea and it was just a gimmick, and we were not really looking forward to it. But were our expectations proven wrong? We will find out in the next few minutes. Kicking things off with the rain-shortened Loop 121. I love that name. I don't know why. It's so weird. Loop 121 Xfinity race. What did you think of some of the racing we saw?
Well, the Fruit Loop is what it would be cool if it was called, if it was sponsored by Fruit Loops, or a Fruit Loop company, but definitely a weird name, like you mentioned. Obviously, both me and Mike didn't have great expectations for this weekend. And first off, like just talking about like the track layout and everything, it was obviously going to be a tight course, and I'm actually surprised. I'll get into this a little bit later. I was surprised that they were able to get the track like raceable for the Cup race, despite all the rain that happened. But the Xfinity race was honestly wasn't good. Very boring. I felt like there was one wreck that happened in that one. Justin Marks is making his first start in a while, and he went out early. He was the first car out of the race, with the engine issue. But it was all dominated by Cole Custer, who led every single lap. Only 25 were run for the Xfinity race, as Mike mentioned, was cut short and never resumed. I wish they would have had more of a chance to run, but with the constraints that they had, obviously people have to go to work the next day. It's better that they would call the race, and it was the right move.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little boring to say the least. I saw the rerun of it while they were going in and out from the broadcast and the rain delay. But it just overall looked kind of boring. We saw a lot of cars wrecking even in practice, like Sheldon Creed. He looked really fast, and he ended up tearing up his primary. And then he looked like he could have had the speed to get back up to the front and try to win something, but then ultimately he just couldn't. It was cool to see Justin Marks, even if it was for a few laps, and sucked that he spun out.
On Allgaier, and a lot of smoke out of Justin Marks and the 10.
That looks like a mechanical issue. It doesn't look like tire smoke. It's out both front tires. The yellow is now out. Oh, and he gets spun around in the middle. I believe that's turn 11 right under your feet, Jeff.
I can watch it. You see right here, Steve said it well. Clearly not front tire like up. That's just a blown engine. Oil getting on the exhaust headers, coming out with smoke, and there he is spinning out in his oil.
But overall, the race wasn't that great, but I'm not going to rate it too harshly since we didn't get to see the full thing. So I don't really know too much what to say about it, but yeah, I guess congratulations to Cole Custer getting his technical second win of the season. Again, I did not expect him to win on a road course, but whatever. I mean, we can't control it with the rain being shortened. So taking a look at what you guys...
Rain was shortened, Mike? Hey, Mike, you said the rain was shortened?
Yeah, rain was shorted. Yes, that was bad grammar by me.
That's okay. What did the people have to say? Oh, what was
well,
that?
0% said great, obviously. 25% said good. 75% said mess/okay, and nobody said bad. Mike Riggleman said didn't finish it. Yes. And driver of the day, nobody. I think I'm gonna have to agree with this. For the first time, I agree with nobody. Probably Cole Custer since he won the race, but otherwise nobody really impressed me since the race was only 25 laps. What was the point?
It was, I mean, he led every lap from the pole. He'd be the driver today. But one driver I will mention that did move up a good bit, Kaz Gralla, he started 25th and finished 10th. And then another big mover in the race was Chandler Smith in the number 16 poly car. He started 16th and finished 8th. But Cole Custer's the obvious answer here.
Now for the Cup race. What did you think of it?
What did you think of it? I mean, wasn't that cool, Mike? It was better than we thought it was going to be.
It was. I'm gonna get into my full in-depth thoughts after the Cup race, like on the track and like all the other stuff. But like now to talk about the race first.
Well, I will say first, like, rip to the track worker. They said a track worker died that during the weekend. I don't know how or what. They haven't released any details, but rest in peace to that guy and his condolences with him and his family. There was just a lot of tragedy this past weekend. Like even in Chicago, I heard there's like 13 shootings over the weekend.
Right.
But going into the Cup race, I knew it was going to start late, so having been working all morning and having worked like all day, I was like, I'm just going to set my alarm for 6 o'clock and 6:20 and hope that the race is on. Right when I woke up and turned on the TV, 6:20, they were rolling up pit road. I was like, perfect timing, But I was surprised they got it in, considering how much rain there was. If you saw like videos like Colleague Racing posted, there was like 2 feet of water and tires going like being carried away. It was just very strange. But props to NASCAR getting it in, because no one would want to spend all that money and then for it to just get canceled and moved. You know what I'm saying? Like it just would have been a disaster. Cup race, obviously there's a lot of wrecks. I expected there to be wrecks. We saw a pile up at one point. We saw Kevin Harvick getting turned a lot.
Byron in the wall. Byron missed the corner. Harvick around. They're going to stack up. It's too narrow. There's nowhere for everybody to go. You got to go right. They are all but stopped. There are 7 cars sitting here with nowhere to go. They're trying to back up. It is a traffic jam.
It's a traffic jam.
Nowhere to go right here.
Traffic jam on Jackson Street or Jackson Drive. And so they knew this was going to happen. You hear the fans yelling, but that was just a situation where one car got sideways and then another one was so close he couldn't get by. But that means another caution lap and another restart, Steve.
Well, first of all, the running order is going to be very interesting to see. But Jeff, did it all start with the 24? It seemed like he got into the barrier first.
Yes, that's right. The 24 of William Byron, who was in position to possibly win this race. He ended up getting into the barrier. Let's go back and watch. So there it is right there. William just missed the corner. Again, these wet conditions got out of the groove, and then it just snowballed from there. If you were able to get in this right lane and get by this, that was a lucky break. Here it is right here. See, William just missed the corner. Just pushing hard. Wet conditions out of the groove, and Harvick spun around in front of him, and that's what started this long jam.
Did we see Corey LaJoie get into the back of the 4 there also to maybe help him get around?
We did. Yeah, we did. But I mean, listen, I don't know what. There it is right there. But I think what happened was the 4 of Harvick saw the 24, and he probably checked up trying to avoid him.
Denny Hamlin, the pole sitter, losing his talent and running it. I was going to say lost the talent, just hit the wall. Or the barriers. We saw Kyle Busch rebound from wrecking into the tire barrier as well.
Help getting out of the tire barrier. After that, I should be good. Kyle Busch, you see him just sliding. He was very nervous about the wet conditions, and that nervousness proving itself as he gets into the tire barrier.
But the guy that obviously struggled, there's 2 guys that struggled a lot in this race that knows. Bubba Wallace and Noah Gragson. They could not keep their cars straight. They just kept wrecking and running into people. It is what it is. New course and everything. I was surprised by some of the pit strategy towards the end. Like, I did not expect Chase Elliott and Justin Haley to be up there. They kind of stayed out and they risked it, but they were up in the top 5 at the end. Kyle Busch had worked his way back into the front, as mentioned. And then the guy that shocked the world, Shane Van Gisbergen, Australian driver. He's won over 80 Supercross races in his career from Australia. He had been working like his way up through the front towards the end, and I knew he was going to be faster because, like, obviously he started third and he was really strong, but he worked his way up there and got the job done. And with the fresher tires towards the end, that seemed to definitely be an advantage. He had a great battle crossover move on Justin Haley for the lead and ran away with it.
Here he comes into turn number 1. Haley, so far so good, slips just a tad off the corner, but here he comes, battle for the lead. Shane Van Gisbergen to the inside and to the lead off turn 2 with less than 5 to go here in Chicago.
But Haley is right there. He's coming back to the inside through turn 3. He's going to retake the lead. The 91 back to the inside into turn 4.
All the cautions at the end, I was like, come on, why do they keep wrecking? I want to see him win, because I was also pulling for him, because I was like, no other driver since 1963 had won a race in their first Cup start, and that was Johnny Rutherford at Daytona in 1963, and he got the job done. If I believe he's the 7th driver in NASCAR history to win in their first Cup start. The first one was Jim Roper at the Charlotte Dirt Track in 1949. So there's been some other ones. I think Harold Kite was another driver that won in his first start. But honestly, man, that was a good race. And as much as I don't like NASCAR on street courses, they kind of made me change my mind a little bit about it, because I thought that it was going to be a disaster, and it sort of could have been. It seemed like it was going to be, but the racing was worth watching. And honestly, it was like a 6 out of 10 race. And the way they ran that, I feel like that they'll have another one. Definitely they'll have another one in the future. I just think that as long as they don't add too many, I think we'll be okay. One a year would be fine. What about you? What did you think about it?
You know, I was very glad that I was proven wrong, or we were proven wrong, because this race, it was okay, to say the least. It was okay. It was definitely hard to pass, but I liked how a lot of cars didn't pull away. They all stayed mostly close. But it was definitely very hard to pass. We saw a lot of bumping. Like, one incident was with Corey LaJoie and Alex Bowman. They could not stay off each other. They were just bumping each other in a lot of quarters. What else? I mean, there were a lot of drivers that couldn't keep their cars straight. Like, we saw Joey Logano. He went into the tire barrier. Noah Gragson went in 3 times. Like, how? How did you go in there 3 times? Byron hit the tire barrier. I mean, there were a lot of big names that hit that barrier.
Bowman, Dillon.
Bowman did, yeah.
A-Rack.
Yeah, Austin Dillon. I want to mention that real quick. Austin Dillon was running down Justin Haley for the lead toward the end of the second stage. And I don't know what he was doing, but he ran that corner too wide, and I guess didn't see the barrier like how Gragson did it at North Wilkesboro, and just straight up slammed it and destroyed his whole car.
Dillon now a half a car length. We'll see how much pressure he puts on the back of Haley. Oh, he hit the wall. He hit the inside wall and sent him into the tire barriers. We'll see how much damage that has done. It's torn the left front off of Dillon's car. You see the toe link has been bent.
Yeah, it's
He
that
lost
was
some
really
talent
stupid.
there.
Yeah. There were some plot twists in this race, like Tyler Reddick. He looked to be somewhat of the dominant car besides SVG, and he ended up wrecking. That sucked. I thought he was going to win it. Bell also had a pretty good race. He passed Reddick at the end, but talking about Shane Van Gisbergen, whatever his name is, Hamburger, as Joey Logano likes to say, Hamburger. He definitely impressed me. I mean, there's not many NASCAR drivers that can win in their first start like that. And I mean, looking at his background in supercars, I guess it's not that surprising. They're used to that type of track, and they're used to somewhat of the level of aggression NASCAR is. So that was really cool to see him win the race. It was a big upset, and I didn't expect him to do as well as he did throughout the whole weekend. One driver I wanted to give props to, but I'm not going to give as many props as I was going to, was Jenson Button. He was in the top 10 for most of the week, but unfortunately he spun out, and as a matter of fact, made himself look like an idiot by trying to come down on pit road, but he didn't put his hand out the window, so he ended up getting himself turned and then turned himself in front of Logano, almost causing Logano to get out of the race. So thank you, Jenson Button. I really appreciate you.
It's kind of a little high. Oh, there's contact. We talked about how difficult it was going to be to get onto pit road. You wonder if the car behind the 15, I couldn't make out the car number, even knew he was pitting, and then Joey Logano comes around the corner.
Logano still got top 10, so I'll take it. I just wanted to throw a shot at him a little bit.
Button was running fine, but I mean, he was like a bunny falling through the field there at the end. But yeah, I mean, gosh, can we talk about Kevin Harvick getting ran into like 5 times during that race?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. He kept getting wiped out.
Oh, they caused that big parking lot. I knew that was going to happen. Okay, I could see that coming from a mile away. It was so funny. Oh, man,
it wasn't as much damage as to cars as I thought, but like Daniel Suarez, he was running good until he got like part of the left side of his car ripped off. Michael McDowell was doing fine until that too.
Yeah. But I mean, with Shane as well, he came in the final stage after pitting from 17th, and he made it to first. That is very impressive right there. And Kyle Busch as well, he got stuck in the tire barrier. I think he ended up finishing 5th. So props to those guys. Those are definitely my candidates for driver of the day. But I think we know who the true driver of the day is when we get to that mark. But I guess my overall closing thoughts on the weekend, it was better than I expected. There were some crazy moments, like you mentioned, Christian, the track worker that passed away. Rest in peace to him. We still don't know how that happened. And there was apparently some people got into the track and were taking a joyride around the track after hours. That was pretty funny. And Carson Hocevar had a funny little story. Here's that, if I took the screenshot of it. He plugged his sponsor there as well. That was pretty funny. But yeah, those were some crazy moments. Obviously, NASCAR did not anticipate the weather, and I give them a lot of props for their track work. I mean, that was a lot of effort going into it, from having it be where it was practically flooding on pit road to got the track to be raceable. That was insane, and I give them a lot of props for it. I know that they probably couldn't move it because with the whole, people got to go to work, obviously, since technically Monday was a business day, and they got to open up the street again. So I give them props for doing that, and they ran the weekend well, I think. Besides the Chainsmoker concert got canceled, but who cares? They suck anyway.
Whoa.
Let's see, but that wasn't their fault, obviously. It got rained out.
Shots fired.
Overall, I thought NASCAR ran it well. And, one cool video that I saw today, the day of the recording, was the amount of people that were going their first race. Whether it seemed like they were a longtime fan and they had lived in Chicago, or this was just their first experience and they were looking to do something over the weekend, it was so awesome that they were able to get the exposure that they were looking for. So I give NASCAR a tremendous amount of props. It seemed like the drivers actually enjoyed the track. And everybody seemed to have a decent time in Chicago. And would I like to see it be run again? Why not? I mean, run out the contract, get these drivers more used to the street course to see if it will be more interesting, and see if it makes it a little bit easier to pass. That was my only major complaint, was it was too hard to pass, but I really liked how close they were running. My overall thoughts, I give it a 6 out of 10. But yeah,
I give it like a 7 out of 10.
Trying to top me.
I still find it crazy how people would complain about the race, but I will say that that video you're talking about with the first time fans, I bet you those girls were there just because to be there. I don't know if they're actually NASCAR fans, but
Well,
I'm just like,
well,
it's just
I don't care.
yeah.
I don't I don't care if they were there
They
just
look, they
to
didn't
be
have
there.
any merch on. You know what I'm saying? They were drinking, like they're probably just there to have a good time and get drunk. I'm sorry, but
Well, well, you know what? It's still
that may offend people. Go
they
ahead.
still paid money to get into the track, so therefore that's money in NASCAR's
You
pocket
know
and
how much
making them look
money
better.
it costs to have a ticket there, though? There was some
Yeah, it was
tickets that were like
ridiculous.
over $1,000. So, like I
Yeah, I know. I
wouldn't pay
saw
money
it.
to go see a race.
No, I mean that was really
Yeah.
the ticket prices were really stupid. I know that they gave some free tickets because Bubba Wallace had like a block party in Chicago. So good for you guys who got it for free. And Ross Chastain, I think, gave some tickets away to somebody who thought he was a NASCAR driver. He figured he was a NASCAR driver.
You saw
So,
Tyler Reddick tried the grimace shake before the race.
oh yeah, that was funny with that whole
He's
grimace trend.
no wonder he went to the wall.
I know that was ironic. I mean, yeah, I mean the weekend was pretty eventful, I'd say. So
Yeah.
taking a look at what you guys had to say, 83% said great. I'm honestly a little surprised by that. 17% said good, 0% said message okay, and 0% said bad. Wow. That might be the best rated race so far, besides the 600. I got to look at the 600 ratings again, but wow.
I
No
know
thoughts.
Nashville. Yeah. Good.
Go ahead. I was going to say
I
no
was gonna
thoughts.
say, I think. Oh my gosh,
Jeez, we
Zoom! What
cut
the
each other
heck,
off twice in a row.
bro? Zoom! Oh my goodness. Okay, so Atlanta and I think Atlanta and Nashville had some good ratings. So did Darlington, but I don't know if they were as well percentage wise as this one.
Hmm. And then driver of the day, Shane Van Gisbergen. I have to agree with that. He was the dominant car. But some other people that I want to mention, Kyle Busch, coming back from being stuck at a tire barrier to finish, I believe, fifth. And Tyler Reddick was a good car, but he had an issue, so I can't necessarily give it to him. But if he had finished in the top two, he would have been considered.
My driver today is Justin Haley. I know he finished second, but he led the most laps, if I'm correct. He led 23 of the 78. And I mean, he didn't lead the most laps, actually. That was Christopher Bell. He led 37 and he had a problem. But, man, you know, Christopher Bell is another watch with a change of direction. He was in the lead for a while and then he just fell back after spinning. But my driver today was Justin Haley. He started, guess where? You know where he started, right?
No.
37th.
Oh,
And
yeah,
he finished
last,
second.
right? Yeah.
So that's my driver today, Justin Haley.
You know, Justin Haley actually did impress me because I don't usually expect him to run well on a road course, but he did. So I give him props for that.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else could we talk about? Meme of the week.
Before that, we do have a fact. Trackhouse Racing is the first organization in NASCAR Cup Series history to have winners from 3 different countries. You have Ross Chastain from the United States, Daniel Suarez from Mexico, and Shane Van Bergen from New Zealand. So that was a really interesting fact about TobyChristie.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got memes of the week, and we also have clowns of the week. But first up, one interesting thing that to note about Noah Gragson, despite being memed by his own team, or not his own team, his own sponsor on the broadcast, Gragson wrecked 3 times in a race. He caused 2 cautions. He had 0 minutes in the top 10. He had 1 train ran on Brad Keselowski, 15 minutes of Wendy's ads, and an attraction to the turn 6 tires. You, Noah Gragson, have been selected to
The Guangdong Tigers. Yeah,
It's time
that
to
was a
learn
little
some
cringy
Chinese,
thing.
buddy.
That was the cringy little thing, but you know what? It was kind of funny. And Noah Gregson really looked like trash. So that's why we decided to include that there.
All right, so we got memes of the week. First up, we got this meme from Brad Wazowski. The Chicago Street Course when you turn the glasses on, it turns into a slip and slide, and it kind of was for like some of the weekend, but not as much during the Cup race as I expected. Then we got the tremendation of Tyler Reddick drinking the Grimace Shake and then cutting to the wall. Good meme there. We also got Eric Almiroli, YouTube. His parents, his grandma was mad because the DirecTV canceled the channel right before the race, so they couldn't watch it. That was quite a funny video there. And we got the Michael Marutz full-time NASCAR ride. Another skip by him.
This is easy! I'll be racing full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series for Rick Ware Racing! Why not Trackhouse? They don't want a third full-time team. Why Rick Ware? Well, it seems everyone talks about them. They're talked about for their slowness. Really? So a 10-year deal was a bad idea, eh?
Those are the memes of the week. Another one I saw was what was it? It was the race. I think it was Racing Memes had another one, but for some reason I didn't have that one in our group. But another one by Brad Wazowski was the NASCAR cars are difficult to race. It takes years to master. Winning a Cup race is the hardest thing. And then Shane Gisbergen, the Sigma, said no. I'm going to win in my first race. So
yeah.
That's memes of the week, but what about clown of the week? We got a couple nominees for that.
Well, my meme of the week pick first off was either the Michael Marutz one. I really love his shorts for one. I love most of his shorts. He's so funny. Definitely subscribe to him. And come on our show when you get a chance, Michael, please. And also the tremendation one. That was really funny.
Yeah. Dude, it's honestly tough. Just because like I find Grimace memes funny. My favorite one was definitely Grimace, the Tyler Reddick milkshake one. But honestly, man, Mike Maurice is really funny, and it was funny. He was in an iRacing event last Thursday, and he was I'm pretty sure it was either Thursday or Monday, and he was leading, about to win the race, and got wrecked right at the finish line, and he just started screaming and throwing stuff. It was so funny. But okay, so for the clown of the week, we got your favorite YouTuber, NRF Productions. Probably one of the most dumbest tweets of all time. Oh my goodness. If you haven't seen it, here's a screenshot. Man, a lot of people got onto him for that, and I can sort of see why. It was definitely very suggestive, and the FBI probably be knocking on his door. What did you think?
I'm trying to
Looking at it again.
I'm trying to find the tweet so I can reread it, but I think I have the gist of it. It was really
probably
stupid.
Deleted it.
I think he did, but I thought I had the screenshot. But anyway, it was really stupid. Like, I could understand sort of what he was talking about. Like, it was kind of a bad area for the grandstands, but it's like, what's the point of even saying that? Like, who asked you to say that, for one? You're talking about a mass shooting and we don't even know if it's going to happen. You're just falling into the narrative that these boomers were creating, that there was going to be a mass shooting throughout the weekend, and you ended up looking dumb. I mean, how do you know even where to find a mass shooting spot? Were you planning on being there and shooting somebody, NRF? I don't know. But yeah, that was definitely a weirdo tweet, and it's not the first time. We all remember that Hailie Deegan's 18th birthday is supposedly the most anticipated NASCAR moment since Joey Logano, which, sir, you're a clown, and please go to horny jail. But yeah, NRF looking once again like a clown, no doubt.
Yeah, man. So that's our clown of the week, other than the people that ran onto the course and got arrested. But anyway, I guess this coming weekend we got Atlanta. I've always liked Atlanta. Atlanta's one of my favorite tracks, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
If correct, the Truck Series are at Mid Ohio, and so the Xfinity Series is at Atlanta. Cup Series is at Atlanta, but man, Mid Ohio is an interesting track, to say the least. And when it rains, it is a disaster at times. But for the truck race, if I were to pick someone to win that, driver that's been really good in Xfinity Truck Series road courses recently, and that is Zane Smith. That's who I think will win the truck race.
I was kind of debating on going with Zane Smith. And I think I still might go with him, but there's another driver that's racing, and that is Marco Andretti. He just signed on with Spire. I mean, here's the thing. Since I don't know if I want to go with Marco or not. You know what? It'd be daring since you picked Zane Smith. I'm going to go ahead and say Marco. Why not? Marco Andretti becoming the 8th driver to win in their first start in a NASCAR series. Why not? Or I don't know if it's the 8th, but you get what I'm saying. Another first-time winner in a row.
Well, my thing is with Marco, he's not a bad driver. Don't get me wrong. He's very talented. My thing is people just think he's going to win stuff and overhype him. I know it's a crazy statement, but I remember like with the Indy 500, people were like, oh, he's always a favorite to win the Indy 500 like his other, like the other Andretti's, but he just always wrecks. Right. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. I mean, Marco, I don't mind Marco. I think he's a good driver. I like him as a person. But he's okay. I think he's more like, he's kind of like Dale Jr. in a sense. He's related to one of the sports goats, and people do overhype him. I agree with that. I don't think he's a favorite. I thought he was a favorite in like 2 or 3 Indy 500s, but otherwise he's been more of a mid-pack driver in the IndyCar series. I only picked Marco because he has raced on Mid-Ohio, and you picked Zane Smith, and I'm kind of getting a little bored of picking Zane Smith because he's so good in the truck series. So why not try something different?
Okay. The Xfinity Series at Atlanta, I think it's going to be a wreck fest, but my driver that I picked to win, it's coming down to 2 people, actually 3. Austin Hill. It's either going to be Austin Hill, Chandler Smith, or Sammy Smith. But I'm going to go with Sammy Smith. I just think that one of those 3 are probably going to win.
I have to agree with Austin Hill in a sense, but after looking at the entry list, I noticed somebody that I really want to pick. He was a super speedway machine with Colleague when he was in the Xfinity series. He always works really well with the Colleague cars. That is Justin Haley, my friend. I think he will come back in the Xfinity series, and he will win yet again on a plate track.
That's not a bad pick at all. Now, for the Cup, they're racing at 7 o'clock on Sunday on USA Network. It'll be the first of like 5 races in a row on USA. But my pick for the Atlanta race is Joey Logano. Surprise, surprise.
You stole my pick. I'm going with my boy Joey Logano as well. And so with that, that will conclude this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
See you.
Only calling now, you wanted what I think. All these women lie, push me to the brink. Only calling night, after bellies or the drink. You only calling night, and you